All right, I'll show you.
And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Dinner and a Game, where it is Friday, and Friday means that it's either one of two things: dinner conversations or the lab, experiments in gaming. And if you couldn't guess by looking at the screen and looking at the cast, this is the lab. Thank you guys once again for joining us. Thank you to the lab for allowing us to produce this show for them. We are incredibly grateful. I am going to keep this very short and sweet because I got my second vaccine today, and it is kicking my ass. So I'm going to be very, very quiet and sit off to the side. But I did want to make some quick announcements. Number one, we are doing a contest a couple of contests on our TikTok channel. We're trying to hit that 1,000 person mark. And so we are giving away a couple of things. You can see one that's scrolling through the center of the screen right now. When we hit 1,000 followers, I have a fully 3D printed Wizard's Tower. It breaks down into a bunch of component pieces. It's really easy to store. It'll literally fit in a shoebox. But when it's assembled out, it's like 10 inches wide. It's about 16 inches tall. It has 3 separate tiers. It has stairs. It has windows. It has everything. It has doors that open and close. It has a trapdoor in the top that opens and closes. It is like a centerpiece for your gaming table. And when we hit 1,000 followers on TikTok, we are going to be giving away that beast to one winner. And that winner will be drawn from our followers.
I really want that.
And I really entered. You follow us on TikTok, so you're entered, Ross.
I really want some. I'm just like, when you first mentioned it, I got really excited and I started thinking of the tiny wizards that live there and their little tiny spells that they cast.
Well, I have my own. That's like I printed it up as a test, but that's the one I'm keeping. And that one, I'm going to make a board for it, a complete gaming board. It's going to have a tower on the center of this field, and I'm going to put trees around it and everything like that. And I don't even know if I'll ever actually use it. I just have this scene in my head now, and I have to build it. So that's what I'm going to do with mine. Also, we have another contest going on. I'm going to try to put the photos in to the scroll as we go through this game, but we are also giving away a set of minis. When we hit 500 followers on TikTok, we are going to give away this set of minis that is a orc warlord, both on a giant warg and on foot. And this is a gorgeous mini set. It's from a company called Loot, and they do 3D models that you can buy the file for and then print out yourself. They don't sell the models themselves, and so we can't sell them because we don't have a license for it. They don't have it yet, but we can give them away as prizes. So we're going to give away the Warlord, both mounted and on foot, when we hit 500 followers on TikTok. And we're already at like 200, so we're on our way. So, but those are the two announcements I wanted to make. I also wanted to remind everyone that Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, Rob and the rest of the crew will be back for another episode of Kingdoms of Mist. This time we should have no technical difficulties, I hope. And we will have a great show, and we hope you guys will be able to join us. And next Friday is Dinner Conversations, where we have a number of guests coming in, and we're going to be discussing one of the subjects that I really think has become a very push-button subject in the gaming community, and that is the topic of consent in gaming. And so we're going to have a number of people on for that show. I haven't locked everyone down yet, but I've got 4 people on right now. Yeah, 4 people on right now who are definites. Ross, if you have any time, I know Fridays are hard for you, but if you have any time you want to join, you can.
No.
Once again, no pressure whatsoever.
I'm not going to do it.
Yeah,
I love you.
That's okay. That's fine. And I'll take the love any way I can get it. Trust me. But other than all that, I think that is about it for me this evening. I am going to turn things over to Marcy and the crew of the lab so they can tell an amazing story as they play Fall of Magic with the creator of Fall of Magic, Russ Cowman. Russ. Sorry, Ross. Anyway,
fine.
I'm delirious, so I'm getting out of here. Guys, have a great show.
See you, Ray.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank Ray and Jess and Dinner and a Game for hosting our show here. We really appreciate the opportunity to get to showcase fun and interesting games and to share our experiences playing them with other people. My name is Marcy. I'm, I suppose, a host of this. Full transparency, I'm in between medication right now, so I'm going to be maybe a little bit more wavy than usual, but I'm here, I'm alive, and we're all good. Before I introduce everyone, I wanted to take a moment to talk out loud briefly about asking questions in games, which is something that a lot of people have submitted to me on TikTok. And I wanted to say, Ross, that I really am enjoying having you here and getting to see a different version of asking these questions. I tend to come from a very counseling, leading questions point of view, and the curiosity, the like friendly curiosity that you've led your questions with has been really illuminating for me to witness. And so part of what I think has been really good about this experience for myself, and also hopefully for people watching, is getting to see other approaches to question asking in games for filling out scenes, filling out characters, getting more to the meat of what players are thinking. I wanted to also acknowledge that I went a little hard on Mutiny during one of our scenes, and I thought that the way that Ross handled that by advocating for Mutiny, but also providing suggestions for how to navigate that a bit more gracefully, was a really great teachable moment for everyone in the stream. Sometimes if two people aren't clicking in the way that they are when they're playing a game, it happens. Even with Mutiny is one of my favorite people in the world to play with. We have great chemistry, but sometimes we're just not lining up right. And having other people at the table who can kind of see where the problem is and aren't afraid to step out and to help navigate that issue, to create comfort for someone who might be uncomfortable and to provide guidance for the person who's driving the scene, is a really great thing to have at the table. And I hope that everyone who's watching tonight is going to be paying attention to the skills that Ross is sharing with us, because I didn't have them personally, and I think they're great. So with that, I'd love to introduce everyone that's playing with us tonight. Start Rob.
Hi, I'm Rob. Not much to say about me. As always, live under a rock. Most of you people are familiar with that at this point. Just super happy to be here. Super happy to be playing with Mr. Cowman himself, and of course all my friends, my dearest friends, playing my most favorite game, and just really happy to get back into it.
Yeah, me too. I'm really looking forward to doing a part 2 of this. Shaz?
Hi, I'm Shaz, and I am more of the newbie of D&D of this group. So I am always excited to try out new mini games and one-offs. So super excited to continue this story of Fall of Magic with not only the creator of Fall of Magic, which is so sick.
Mutiny?
Hello. Super excited to be here again and playing with Ross. It's been a lot of fun, and like Marcy said, it's really cool learning different aspects of this game, and just here to have a good time.
And of course our guest and the creator of Fall of Magic, the game that we're playing tonight, Ross Cowman.
Hey everybody, my name's Ross Cowman. I'm a game designer and I live in Olympia, which is kind of near Seattle, if you don't know where Olympia is. I'm just really honored to be here with you all. I always really appreciate compliments, but that was a little excessive, Marcy. I don't know if I can. I'm a Leo, and I was just like, oh, I can't. Just like nonstop compliments for like 5 minutes. Like, oh my god. But well, no, I really
to be clear that those compliments were very real, but also there was a very scaffolding aspect of making sure that the audience knows what to pay attention to. So I wouldn't normally go that over the top, even if I meant it, but there was a strategic element to being that aggressive with the love.
I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. I just want to say you all are doing really great, and I think that there's like a lot of love and a lot of trust at the table between the four of you. I know you play a lot IRL, and that's like super clear. And I feel like I'm always learning too, just from watching other people's play, and that is something I've been thinking a lot about. I'm revising some of the advice in the Fall of Magic rule book And I just think it's really interesting. There's a lot of different stuff, and like everything that I know is just stuff that I saw someone else do at the table. I was like, holy shit, that's so cool. I'm going to steal that, and that's one of the lovely things about story games is that you can always steal from other play that you think is cool. You can steal characters from your life or from someone else's life. And, we're just making the story for us. It's a little different, when we're broadcasting something to share. But it's definitely, I'm definitely a student along with the rest of you all. And I feel like every person I sit down at the table with has the potential to be my teacher, and I'm definitely excited to make some more story with y'all tonight. So.
Yay! All right, I am going back to the scroll now and trying to remember exactly where we left off. We had basically finished the round of turns, right?
Yeah, what I like to do sometimes, when you sit down for a new session, we can really just we don't even really have to worry too much about what we did last time, because it could be any amount of time could have passed. It's probably important that we remember our characters and things like that, but yeah, anyway, I just always just tell people to just jump back into it. Anybody can do a scene. We could even start with moving on to the next one. Anyone could go first. We could continue in any order,
I think that makes sense. I'm trying to think of, for the sake of viewers,
the music.
And for the sake of everyone at the table, do we want to reintroduce our characters? Or another idea that I had is that maybe as everyone takes their first scene with their character, they can weave the quick reintroduction to their character into that scene. And I think the way that we'll handle that is if anyone doesn't want to have to think about that during their scene, you can reintroduce your character right now before we start. And then the people who would like to do it in their scene can save it for when their turn rolls around. So now is an opportunity for anyone to reintroduce their character.
All right.
Who is my character?
Yeah, right, totally. Yeah, I feel like it takes some time too. I'm just starting to feel this character again, coming back from a couple weeks ago. I think River, she and they, and I am the older, more rundown golem of the two golems that is traveling with our party. And I was once I was once a warrior who fought for the Magus, but I have since vowed to never take up the sword again. And we kind of had that really lovely scene, Rob, and that where that sword was kind of passed on to you.
Yeah.
Maybe you should tell us about your character a little bit next.
Absolutely. So I am playing Elamira, who is, of course, as Ross said, the younger golem. And I guess we're still sort of like feeling this out, but I've taken on the mantle, in a sense that River once had of the more martial of the two of us, I guess. So like you once had that, and now you've sort of passed it on to me. And yeah, we're still sort of feeling out where exactly our story is going, but we have passed through many bodies and many like forms in a sense, and I'd love to see where it goes. And I've had so many emotional scenes with these two characters. Actually, with everybody's characters, it's been amazing.
Hashtag golem feels.
Yeah.
Just golem things. So my character is an old lady, of course, my favorite character to play. She is a midwife of Barleytown, and her name's Harp. She goes by she and her. One thing that's special about her is that she has a flock of birds always following her. She's known as kind of like the crazy lady, the crazy bird lady from Home Alone. And that's how I kind of imagine her. Oh, and she rides a boar whose name was...
What about your boar?
Yeah. What was his name? Harley?
Harley. It was Harley, yeah.
Harley?
I
Yeah.
think we tried to have chat name the boar, so...
Yeah, there were many good
I must
names.
have written it somewhere. But yeah, that is all we know about Harp as of right now.
I will I actually haven't fleshed out Justice very much yet. What I know is that Justice is a knight of Stormguard, she, her. That the position that she holds with the Magus is that she is sort of bodyguard and also one of the trainers of the battalion of soldiers that lived at Ravenhall and are now traveling with us in our journey to Umbra. And has a history with Harp. I believe Harp may have either had a hand in raising Justice or was just someone who was around while Justice was growing up. And has a friendly, almost rivalry, not really, with Elamira. And I think is pretty new acquaintances with Caspian and River. Yeah, that's it.
Thanks for reminding me about our relationship. I literally, like, it's been 2 weeks and all of it's like gone.
Right, totally. It's like this remembering a dream almost.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to assume that Mutiny wants to reintroduce Caspian in a scene.
No, I was just about to go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so my character was Caspian, the fox of Mistwood, and I took fox fairly literally because I like foxes, and he is a kind of anthropomorphic fox creature, I guess, fox person. He, him, who is basically, I think in my head, a descendant of magic. That's how there's still some like anthropomorphic animals in the world, but not many. But he's never seen magic himself, and kind of his mission, his goal through this trip is to find what real magic looks like.
Ooh.
Kind of a shy boy too.
I love Caspian.
Yeah.
It's the edgy emo boy. Alrighty.
Well, maybe we should just. Maybe I'll just go.
Yeah. Okay. I think we could all use someone taking the first step. I think that would be.
All right. I'm gonna advance the token. Oh, this is a hard decision. This is the hardest decision.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
One of those two places.
It's a split.
Do people? This is really interesting too, because sometimes I feel like really clear about this. Like there's a character who's a character will be really associated with Stormguard or with the Mistwood, and I'll really like want to go to one place or the other to like learn more about them. But here we have characters from both places, so it's kind of interesting. I would actually kind of like to put it just to Marcy and Mutiny. Do either of you are really feeling like you want to kind of delve a little more into your character's backstory and like kind of go to the place where your character's from, and kind of, is that exciting to either of you, or are you? No, that's it. That's the question.
I don't feel like Justice is very defined by their heralding from Stormguard. I don't think it's an important thing to explore for who Justice is. I feel it's more like a question of they were born and received like their early training there, and I don't think it's very near or dear to them. So
cool.
I'm definitely open to going to Mistwood if that's more interesting for Mutiny and for the two golems as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, besides the fact that I have a character from Mistwood, I think the last time we played, we did Stormguard.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think I've ever done this way.
Let's
So
do
for me
it.
personally, that would be super interesting.
Let's do
Absolutely.
it. Which one's the Magus? Is it this candle? I can't quite remember.
No, I'm the
sword,
candle. I
I
think it's
think.
the.
I
Yeah, it's
think
the
it's the
sword.
sword.
It's the sword, the broken sword. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Right,
sorry,
so-
I got confused. I thought the golems were from Mistwood. I wrote it down wrong last time. That's my
Oh,
mistake.
totally.
That was my
Yeah,
mistake.
we're from Ravenhall. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna advance the Magus to the Mistwood, and everyone go ahead and take your tokens back. Just gonna move them off the board for now.
Yep.
And the prompt here is what slows you down. So, I'm thinking about what the Mistwood looks like as we approach it, and I can see this. Oh, that's right. There's like a bunch of us. I forgot we like have this whole host that we're traveling with. So I think that's kind of what we see first is this sort of view that really just shows how many people are traveling in this party along with the Magus. You know, and the five of us in the Magus. I believe the Magus is riding in a carriage.
Yeah.
Sorry, we just had a little question about moving, reducing the icons. Let me show. This is important if you ever use Roll20. I think it's useful for other people too. If you click, so the question is how to make people's little faces small on Roll20, and what you do is on the top right, you click the gear. Oh no, this is totally cool.
Yeah.
You click the gear, and then down at the bottom, you have the option to change your chat avatar size, and you can just change it down. There's a little drop down menu that says names only. And if you can't see the right menu, then you have to click there's like a little menu tab that's on the right side of the screen that you have to click.
Cool.
Are you able to see that? Is that working for everybody?
Yeah, that
Ross,
worked for me.
Our
Alright.
IT savior.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, cool. So, great. So I was talking about the Mistwood. Yeah. So we can see, just this. At first, I think we kind of are just seeing the five of us, walking and riding along. This fancy carriage that the Magus is in. I think actually maybe the carriage has been kind of abandoned at this point. Well, no, whatever. There's still carriage. Let's say there's a road. There's a road that we're all traveling along, and so the carriage is still an okay means of transportation. It's being led by several horses, and the as we're the camera kind of pans out, and you can just see this huge retinue following the Magus on this journey, and just kind of like the clanking of maybe lots of soldiers, like people in arms, but they're all with the banners of Ravenhall flying. We see was it Maurice, the privy digger, kind of asleep.
The wisest thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
He
him.
had a busy.
One that had that written down.
Yeah.
Still like holding a shovel.
Still holding his shut. Yeah, just kind of taking a nap. He's had a long day of a lot of privy digging to do on the previous camp. So they kind of tend to sleep during the day while we travel, and then dig privies throughout the rest of the day. But yeah, and then the road just starts to descend down, and I think now we're inside the carriage with the Magus, and I think one of you is riding with the Magus. Who is that? Who's riding in the carriage?
Inside the carriage?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can take that if no one else has something. I can take that.
That
I
sounds
don't
great.
mind either way.
Cool. So so we see Justice and the Magus inside of the carriage, and the windows to the carriage are, I think they don't have like glass windows, but there's kind of these like metal shutters that kind of pull back and pull forth, and the one in the Magus kind of reaches over and pulls the shutters back and is looking out the window, and we're kind of seeing the landscape, and we kind of come to this large we hear like whoever's driving the caravan, like kind of up on top, the caravan lead, the quartermaster or whatever, calls for us to halt, and we stop, and the Magus is kind of like peering out the window and is kind of gesturing and kind of pointing and saying, "Ah, look, the Mistwood's just over there," and we can see that there's this big descent and this valley just full of this mist with little trees peeking out of it, and it's really thick. Like you can't see anything, other than just the little peaks of these trees kind of coming out, and the mist is starting to kind of curl around the caravan a little bit and coming up and into the window a little bit, and the Magus says, Justice, what do you think we need to be worried about? I know that the Knights of Stormguard would patrol the Mistwood quite often. Do you have any advice for us?
I did participate in some recons in the Mistwood before I moved on to your service. And the truth of the matter is that it's more of a training exercise than it is a serious business. The Mistwoods are generally pretty safe places, if only possibly due to their proximity to Castle Stormguard itself. Stay together, make sure everyone knows not to wander off, because these mists will close around you. That is the biggest thing, is not to find yourself alone, and not for any reason of magic, and even if it were, I suppose that would be less of a problem now, but just that the mist is very thick, and it is easy to get lost and stay lost if you lose your bearing.
The Magus nods at your advice and says, very good, Justice. I will instruct the caravan leader to make sure that we take our time, and I'll stick close that everyone stays within sight of one another so that we don't get lost in the mist.
And Justice definitely has like a little unconscious half smile at being asked for advice.
Cool. Okay, great. I think so. That's what slows us down. I'm going to end the scene right there.
Cool.
Okay.
Right. Anyone can go next.
Very cool. I kind of have an idea.
Oh, go for it.
Do it.
Especially after what you just said. Sorry, Justice.
Justice still has a little blushies.
I want to do by moonlight who these. Oh, it's who these trees. I thought it was what these trees remind you of. I read it wrong.
Well,
Okay, I'll do this one. I'll do the changing mist. That works. It works for what I want to do. So I think Caspian knows these woods. And I think grew up in these woods. So just while Justice is telling the Magus that we should all stick together, he has already gone off into the woods by himself, and travels through the trees, and he recognizes the trees, the forest, despite only being able to see however far ahead from the thick mists. Every tree tells a story to him, and he knows which ones point in which direction, and which ones lead to dead ends and brambles, and where the animals go through the woods. So while the caravan stays close together, Caspian kind of drifts in and out. He'll come back, make sure everything is together and the caravan is still moving in the right direction, and then he'll be gone again and out into the woods, and occasionally come back with food or a shiny rock. But for the most part, Caspian, through these woods, sticks to himself and sticks to the woods that he knows so intimately.
Was there a shiny rock thing from the last game? I'm having like weird deja vu.
No, I just picked that up just now.
All right, sounds good.
Actually, no, was there a rock? I don't know. I don't think it was Caspian, but I feel like somebody did mention a rock now that you said that.
I'm thinking of the time that Sharon's character had a rock, or sorry, Shaz's character had a rock a while back.
I don't remember this. I don't remember anything.
It was in the different game. It was in
It was in Firebrands, right?
Yeah. No, not Firebrands. It was in the Dreams Askew.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
When her brother died. And
Well, I'm
her
definitely
brother
not
gave her the
remembering
rock.
that. So.
This is a different kind
That's
of
weird
deja
that you
vu.
brought that up, though, because Shaz's character gave my character a rock.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Exactly.
That's funny.
How
A
odd.
very important rock
Yeah.
that my character didn't know anything about, but was like, okay, little rock.
Yeah.
Avocado.
No. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that in. I don't know. I think Caspian does collect just little tokens that he finds along the way.
Awesome.
Where does Caspian keep these little goodies?
In a little pouch. I think. It's from his mother. It's a little pouch that his mother made.
Oh,
He keeps
Mama.
his little collectible things in.
not like a marsupial pouch.
No, like a little stitched pouch.
Nice.
Made out of some material.
That's so wholesome.
That's
it's
very
got little
wholesome.
It's embroidered into it.
Unless like foxes make like human skin
Oh God.
clothing,
Oh no.
I mean,
that'd be less wholesome.
I don't know materials.
I love it. Yes.
No, it's probably like burlap or something.
For the whole
It's
circle of
I'm just
ancients.
imagining Caspian having like a real Hannibal moment now.
I know.
Oh, I love your pouch. Thanks, I can make you one.
Oh, I just
to my boy.
remembered something really important, which is I want to remind folks about the X card.
Oh, right.
Oh yes.
Since I'm bringing up human skin pouches, let me just toss that out. So if you haven't already, please get yourself a card or a piece of paper and draw an X on it, and we'll just keep that keep that where it's handy. And one thing that I just want to remind folks of is that the X card's just there to help remind us that any of us has the power to change anything that's making us feel uncomfortable in the story. So, if something comes up that you'd rather not be a part of the fiction or is like spoiling your fun, you can just say, hey, I'd like to X that, or hey, can we do this differently? Or you can hold the X card up or type it in chat, and we'll figure out another way to tell our story. No questions asked. No, there's never any need to explain. So I just want to throw that out there while we're having fun still.
While we're having fun with our human skin.
I don't know why, for some reason, whenever I start thinking like Redwall fantasy, I always start wondering like, okay, well, what else is true about this world where animals are like people?
These are the important questions.
But it doesn't have to be like that.
Redwall is a good source material. Redwall got very dark.
It's very dark. Yeah, it's extremely dark.
It's my favorite.
Yeah. Even the kids show was like, it cut a lot of stuff out from the books, but it did not stray away from being dark.
Right, totally. Or like Watership Down. Anything with anthropomorphized animals just leaves me thinking, dear God, I'm so glad animals can't talk, because they'd have some shit to say. But I am really excited about Caspian and their sewn pouch of rocks that their mother gave them.
Yeah.
I really like that scene. It's very
It's
cool.
lovely.
I would love to know a little bit more about what the pouch looks like, or where the pouch sits on Caspian.
I think it's like a dark burlap with little yellow stars kind of embroidered into it. And it's just a little thing, probably about this big. And Caspian keeps it tied onto his belt.
Nice.
Just under his cloak. It's not hidden or anything, but it's there.
Nice. I think I have a concept for a scene. If
Let's hear it. Yeah, do it.
Okay. I'm thinking. Is anybody comfortable playing the Magus? I'm gonna have River in this scene, I think.
I can do the Magus.
Okay. So I am going to go to what runs out, and I guess I'll like kind of explain it a bit just so that you know how you might want to play the Magus. Actually, maybe we should just jump in.
Do you have a kind of intent or vibe that you want from this scene, and you can just outline that basically and jump in from there?
Yeah. I need your help.
How?
You are one of the last like conduits of magic, and I guess sort of like how me and Ross have gone over Elamira and River is that we're sort of like magical beings in a sense.
Semi-corporeal and...
Yeah, and we change bodies. That's kind of where I'm going with it.
Okay, is this a type of maintenance? I assume because you're from Ravenhall, I have assumed... Oh, I think we also went over that part of why the golems exist is to protect and care for the Magus.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and there's also this thing too where the Magus like paints eyes on us and runes on magical runes on us and stuff. That's like part of the enchantment somehow.
Okay, so do you maybe want to start this scene with the Magus redoing some of those runes, and then you can make your
little touch up.
Yeah.
Little zhuzh.
Absolutely.
Your runes could use a zhuzh.
We're just gonna have a really runic moment right now.
How dare you assume I need judging? So how I'm thinking that the scene is going is that we have set up camp, and the light of the fire sort of makes an eerie glow through the mist, as it's like it's hard to permeate through like how thick this mist is, and I think maybe I'm imagining maybe by one of the carts there's material specifically for maintaining the golem, maybe like the Magus's cart or one that we bring along with us. And what I'm imagining is like the paint or the tools required to touch up the golems and to make us a little bit more humanoid, because the lack of eyes makes us kind of disconcerting to most people.
Can the Magus have like dedicated like teams that just help them perform whatever particular task it is? And that's one of the reasons why there's so many people with us. So they've got their golem painting. I'm sorry, I've been watching a lot of The Crown, so that's kind of like bleeding into my head, like the whole Buckingham Palace, like way too many servants lifestyle. But I'm just kind of imagining like, you know, that as the Magus gets ready to do this, there's like these people where it's their job to assist the Magus when they paint the golems, and they've got like all the tools and the supplies and like so the Magus has to do as little as, you know, actually they can just focus all their energies on doing the actual work.
Yeah,
I'm definitely with that in mind, kind of imagining like a surgery with a doctor and nurses. So
totally.
The Magus is in front of Elamira with a paintbrush, and on one side, fresh paint ingredients are being ground and blended together. And on the other side, there's a servant who's just watching to switch out brushes for different parts.
That's so cool.
I'm a huge fan of, as everybody knows, like faith and ritual. So I'm imagining that this is something that these servants were either like, first of all, like specifically chosen for, and also like they feel great honor in helping the Magus to maintain the last 2 remaining golems that we know of.
Yeah.
I kind of like that concept. If everybody's cool with that.
Yeah, that's great.
I kind of like the idea maybe that they're that these are the Golem specific acolytes left after the budget cuts of wearing away, kind of like there used to be more, and there used to be even some that could do the process without the Magus there. They were qualified to redo the runic enchantments, but those are long gone, and now it is just like this small team of remaining highly skilled acolytes who support the Magus in this process, and they're some of the last ones left who can do this kind of work.
I love that.
That's really cool. I'm imagining them having these kind of like maroon like cowls that they wear, and these kind of like pointed hats with little flaps that come down past their ears, and there's like little eyes drawn all over the place, you know, like kind of patterns and stuff on them.
I like that.
And their hands are stained, have inky stains on them from mixing the pigments.
Yeah, actually that brings up the question, what is the color of the paint that they use for us? Like, is it multiple different colors, and do our eye colors change? Thoughts?
Definitely multiple different colors. I feel like the runes are in a different color than the eyes themselves, but I do also like the idea of the eye colors changing.
Yeah.
That being either something that's pure aesthetic, or if it has meaning, we could even leave that up in the air.
Okay.
It's a mood ring.
Right. Yeah, for whatever reason, maybe the Magus is drawing like these indigo symbols right now. Or it's like maybe even like taking a washcloth and like wiping off the old, and like your face is just blank for a moment, and then we see like a finger kind of with this like, does the Magus have like long fingernails?
I think on at least one hand for this task they must.
Yeah, and they like kind of dip their finger in and almost are using their fingernail like a fountain pen, where it's like drawing these intricate shapes.
Oh, even like the idea of the Magus having a fingernail that has like a pointed fingernail with a slit up the middle, right?
Sure, right, totally. That's what it's for.
I love that.
So
super cool.
Okay.
Yeah, so Elamira is laying there, and I guess you have just wiped away the previous runes and markings, and it's kind of like you know how sometimes like when you're under anesthesia they can still talk with you. You're sort of like, my face is gone, but I'm still having a conversation with you.
Sure.
Should I start talking about? River, does it ever get old?
Oh, you mean you're talking to the Magus, right? Not River. Or is this
you're in the scene as well.
Oh, cool. Does it ever get old? We get old. We get old, my love. But the work is enduring. The work is ever living. The work is everlasting.
Does that ever get hard? And this is like a broad question to both you and the Magus. It's sort of like to the room in a sense.
There's a scrape of the nail along the brow bone.
Our bodies are hard. They are meant for hard things.
Yeah, I guess they are. In a sense, I'm a little bit happy that not everybody has to take the hardships of the world, and we can take a bit more than others.
Yes. We are here to care for our soft companions.
I'm sure that River will remember well that it's possible to make you soft as well. And you need only ask. You may not be fit for the jobs to be done, but you're entitled to your time being soft as well.
I think I'm a little bit too weak to be soft yet. I need this hard outer shell.
I might like that someday. I feel like I might still have a task or two to do first. And just then, like, you've just finished Marcy or Magus has just finished one of my eyes, and as you lift your finger away, we see it blink a couple times. Actually, okay, so I have like these two aesthetics that I'm not sure which is correct. One aesthetic is we never like the painted stuff is just like animated when it's on our face. But then I just remembered there's this other aesthetic that I was kind of into in the last session where we actually like never see the expressions change like on screen. It's just always like, and maybe even they just don't ever change when they're being observed. Kind of like there were those like really scary stone angels in that Doctor Who episode that they only ever move when you're like,
the weeping angels,
which I'm kind of into, like
Reboot.
Yeah. Wait, what'd you say?
Hexadecimal from Reboot 2.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that
passing hands over the face so that the face is and then the expression is changed when you can see it again.
Cool. Yeah, I think definitely if I was directing this movie, that would be the choice that I would make.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, less CG.
Yeah.
There's no CG in this movie. This is all practical effects.
I do like that concept, like, because I think that we can portray emotion. It's mostly in like voice, but I think the concept of us being able to like change our face like emotions just by like passing our hand over or something like that.
Oh, really interesting. Cool. Like we even do that. Like we'll look away and pull a cowl over and then look back. Yeah. I'm into it. Okay, great. So that is two aesthetics enter, one aesthetic wins.
Yeah.
That is the one. Cool. So then we don't see my eye blink, but I think, perhaps the Magus kind of like leans over to maybe dip their finger, in their sleeve, kind of obscures the view of my face for a moment, and when it looks back, my eyes are kind of like looking over to the right, over at Elamira, who's lying down next to me.
I think that you've spent a lot longer in this form, and it might be. I respect that you are strong enough to be able to become soft like the rest of them, but I'm not ready, Magus.
That is a journey that we all must make, that you must make too. And if you are not ready, then you should not do it. But I want to affirm that it is an option for you.
I've always appreciated that you see us in a different light, and that you respect the choices that we make.
So cool. I'm imagining these little scratchy scratch sounds. And the sounds of the little mortars grinding
in the background.
Yep. And I'm actually going to call that scene.
Lovely. What? I'm just curious. What was running out there for you? What were you feeling?
Elamira is feeling tired, and I think that the bond to the body decays over time. I think that it's beginning to run out, and it might be like time for a change.
Cool.
It's already feeling emotional.
It's the music. The music is killing.
Honestly. Well, I have an idea. I'm not sure, Marcy, if you had something in mind.
I could definitely wait to see your idea first. I have nothing in mind yet, so where I am right now is that I'm just gonna like make a scene when I have to. If you have something in mind, go with it.
Okay. I wanted to know how the foraging works, because I see numbers.
Yeah.
And
I
could explain.
I better be able to explain. So that is a new kind of prompt, which we don't see into this part of the game, called a peril. And the way the peril works is that you describe the scene and then eventually, work in the story prompt as normal. And then at any time after you have, or once you have introduced the story prompt, you are going to roll a die and describe the result. And you can roll a die in if you have like a physical die handy, you could use that. Yeah, just do that, and then you'll have an additional prompt to explain the rest of your scene. Great.
Okay, so Harp is wandering around the lush forest. It's a little foggy and there's some mist rolling around, but it's not anything threatening. It's something that when you breathe in makes you feel a little bit refreshed to be in a forest and in nature. It feels like it's been a while since we've been surrounded by this quietness that the trees surround us with. And I imagine looking around, panning out kind of like a camera, little Harp is centered in like a little, like, not a pit, but where the trees are mounted over her, and they have grown for hundreds and hundreds of years, that when she looks up and listens to the rustles of the leaves, she thinks back at certain memories and also gets lost in the peace of this quietness. And she looks over to watch the golems get zhuzhed up. And off in the distance, she hears the rustling of Caspian roaming around, which she seems to know that Caspian, maybe some others don't know, but it seems that Harp is realizing that he is very familiar with these woods, and that she too would like to be a little bit more knowledgeable about the little corners and quirks of this place. So now I'm gonna roll the die and let's see what we get. Oh, yes! It's the one I wanted. It was 6. It was 1. Yes.
That is the one I wanted too.
Yes.
Obviously.
And so I'll have Harp's one of Harp's birds. She calls it over onto her finger and then kind of like rests on her shoulders, like, why don't you tell me and lead me to my good friend Caspian? And it chirps up and starts like fluttering its wings and starts flying towards Caspian and lands in front of Caspian, maybe where, well, what is Caspian doing right now?
Okay, well, the prompt is foraging, so let's have Caspian doing that. He's going around the trees and looking in the bushes and just kind of like, I think he occasionally just touches a tree and kind of gently scratches at it and has his nose up in the air, just smelling the air, and is looking for things to eat.
Harp, the sound of Harp's footsteps can be heard through the rustling of the leaves, and underneath her feet she pushes away the leaves from the fall and can hear the branches and twigs kind of breaking with each step. And she's slowly looking around at the berries and trying to pick them out and put them in her pouch while following her birds. And she finally reaches you and says, wow, it's quite nice. It's so peaceful here. It is something that I feel like I miss, but I've never had before. These
woods will do that to you.
These woods, you seem very familiar with them, as if when I see you touching the bark of the tree, as if you had been here before. Have you?
This is my home. I know every tree in this forest as if it were a friend.
And she looks up at one of these trees standing in front of her. It's like massive. The trunk of it you can't even hug the width of it. But she looks up at it and admires its height. I noticed that you were picking up some stones and some rocks. And I feel like you have a very keen eye of these nifty little jewels, nature's jewels. And I think it'd be really nice to collect some. And, you know, who better than to ask someone who knows this place since birth? Could you show me?
Yeah, I suppose I could.
Gonna need a pouch.
And, huh?
Gonna need a pouch. First step.
Place to put them.
She grabs one of her pouches. She's carrying like multiple, maybe like even a backpack. And you can hear her kind of like dinkling around. She grabs one of the little sacks, and it's made of like leather, and it's stitched around with some kind of like string, let's say. But she grabs it and opens it up and kind of like shakes it around and takes one of the rocks out. It's like, you know, I always admire the golems' jewels that adorn them, and I noticed that river has all these beautiful markings on her, and I noticed the cracked porcelain stone of her body, and sometimes it's nice to give to someone, not even for my benefit. It's just to show the love before you can't say it anymore. And I feel like River has lived a very long life where she and I can use a little reminder. I don't think my stones will impress her.
Wait, I have so many questions now, but the one that's most important to me is that, like, so wait, you've been collecting you're already a stone collector.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're like lifelong stone collector, and you just like witnessed how amazing Caspian is at collecting stones, and you've just sort of like realized, like, what have I been doing? I need to like I need this person to like you're ready for like this next level of stone collecting. Like, what's going on here?
I think that Harp isn't so much of a lifelong stone collector. It's more of a scavenger, kind of like picking up random things that she thinks is really pretty or something to remind her of a certain place.
You have like lots of keepsakes and stuff like that.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Cool.
I think that's sort of what Caspian is too, and what I'm getting from that, what you just said, is that she's found a way to bond with Caspian.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, cool. Yeah, I love the idea of there being almost like this tradition in this world of like having like a keepsake bag with things that collect you to different places as you go, and like maybe the two of you, like us kind of seeing like the two of you like sharing stories, like, oh, this is the spool that was left over after I stitched this, and this is the stone that my mother gathered from the river, by Barley Town, and you kind of going back and forth sharing stories.
Actually, that would be kind of interesting route. I would love to kind of ask Caspian, like, from your pouch, is there one that sticks with you and that really means something to you?
Caspian is quiet for a moment and doesn't make eye contact. He kind of shuffles around in the bush and seems like he's not going to answer for a moment. And then he turns around and looks at Hope and
Harp.
Harp.
Sorry, Harp.
Freudian flip.
No, it's a nickname now.
He reaches into his pouch and he doesn't even have to look. And he pulls out a perfectly flat, smooth, green stone. It's about it's about the size of a lootie. So about that big, and it's like an oval shape, and it's flat with a little imprint in it. And he rubs his thumb over the imprint on the stone and then hands it out for Harp to see. And he says, "This is one my mother gave me. It's been with our family for as long as we can remember. It's nothing special. It's just always been there."
She takes the stone and she rubs like the side of her index finger around the smooth part of the stone, and then takes the pad of her thumb, just lightly brushes over all surfaces of the stone as you're telling the story.
He says it's a worry stone. Whenever I feel like anything is going wrong, I feel it, and I know that my history is there with me.
That is the things that our family give us, and even our friends, and sometimes our enemies, can be the most nostalgic experiences. And, it just gives such meaning to such a small thing that some other people might just throw away. And she looks into her pouch and she takes an amber round stone that has a chip on one of its sides. The rest of the stone is smooth, but on one side it's been kind of like etched out. And she rubs her thumb along this edge from the sharp to the smooth and kind of holds it up to Caspian. I grabbed this on one of the battles up on the hill, and when I thought that I couldn't push any longer, I still did it, and I used all my might and all the power and my energy into this because it meant something and I wanted to die great. But I didn't die. And I wanted to remember this moment.
And Caspian takes the stone the same way that Harp did and does the same thing, just rubs his finger over it.
And she kind of like looks over at you as you're holding it and looks up at your eyes, kind of like really enthralled with this stone. And she takes a moment and breathes. You can have this stone. I think whenever your stone starts to tell you that you are in an anxious spot, this stone, I hope, will remind you of strength, and I think will be something I would like to be carried on. And she
Thank
closes
you.
her pouch and just hides it back. I think in this moment where we're both kind of sitting together, admiring our keepsakes and the rocks that we've collected, it kind of like bird's eye view pans out, and the rustling of the forest leaves again. And I'll call that scene.
It's beautiful.
So good. That was really beautiful, you two.
Yeah.
It's the music, man!
I'm telling you, it's music.
Music is really doing something.
I love that.
I also thought the stone was interesting because Sharon described the exact stone that I was
Oh,
holding
what?
at the time.
That's
And I
cool,
was
that's
like,
cool.
okay.
Okay, I did
I
not
don't
know
know
that you had
what
that
it is.
stone.
My stone was a real stone too. Somewhere in my house.
That's cool. Yeah, that's really good at that. Yeah, that's something that I see is just like really useful. It's in acting too. They talk about like substitution as an acting method where you'll kind of like, if you're trying to like portray having a relationship with a fellow actor, or you're trying to conjure a specific emotion, you have to like substitute something real from your life. And it's certainly something that I like a lot of times. If I have to come up with like a character and I don't really have like a good idea for a character, like an NPC, I'll just like think of somebody that I know and like do an impression of them basically. And like it could be kind of a fun way to so
See, I can't really substitute things on my desk because I have like this sitting around.
I mean, that could be a character. That could be somebody in the retinue, or like
Cast Maurice.
yeah.
That kind of pops up too.
Oh my god. But you could take the essence, it's like not actually that person, but you could take the essence of how you feel about that minion and channel them into someone else, a tree or.
It's the next NPC
horse.
that we bump into.
Sure. So I think this is Marcy's scene.
I am going to do By Moonlight, who these trees remind you of. This is going to be a short solo scene with Justice. And it is later at night than the previous scenes. I'm imagining that because of the thickness of the mist in these woods, something that we can imagine is that there are many more fires and torches set up among the encampment than there usually are. The light source is much more important and navigation sources are much more important, so there is double the amount of fires and double the amount of standing torches around the camp. And as soon as you're, 30 feet away, they're just dancing lights in the midst. And Justice is going to ignore her own advice the same way that she ignored the advice of her sergeant while she was doing training in these woods while she was still an adolescent. And not thinking about it, not trying to be petty or pithy, is just so into these woods and entranced by the mist and by the trees and the height of the trees and the quality of this space that she is just going to walk out looking around and watching the world come into focus and disappear as she walks. And she is going to put her hands on trees as she walks by and note that although the mist is too thick for her to see the stars, she can always see the moon through the mist. Not in a way that'll let her navigate by it, mind you. Just noting that she can see it. And she just walks out. and listens for what muted sounds come through the heavy air, and runs her hand along the trees and through tall grass and the leaves of shrubs. And she is going to remember doing exactly this when she was an adolescent for hours until she got completely lost and realized by the moon appearing through the mist at that time that she had to find her way back to camp, and she had no idea how to. And she remembers the friendly taunting and shadowy darting of a fox that laughed and teased her through the mist, that she followed, and that shadowy foxy figure played games with her, chasing and tag, never coming close to her for hours until she was able to see the flickering light of a fire and found her way back to camp. And as she wanders and has this memory, after a much shorter walk this time, having made no effort to turn or anything, she sees the many fires of the camp now burning through the mist and the trees, and has somehow found her way back again. And that is going to be Scene and What These Trees Remind Justice of.
Lovely.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Mr. As I said, it was Mercy's turn, and also I'd forgotten that Mutiny, you haven't taken a turn yet either, so it's either you or me next, I think.
No, I went first.
Oh, you went first?
Yep.
Oh, that's right. Now I remember. You talked about running around through the smoke, or through the fog. Okay. Cool. Well, I'm gonna do a scene then. I'll do Trail of the Rangers, the Changing Mist. The Trail of the Rangers. So the road ends abruptly one day, and we are, and I'm imagining that it's this place where, just like a event, like, I'm kind of imagining that, like, for, we see the kind of path, the road kind of gradually become wilder and wilder, where it, it gets to a place where the people who maybe the Kingdom of Stormguard was maintaining this road, and it gets to this place where it no longer made sense for them to be hauling stones from the mountains to pave things, but they would still come through and kind of hew down trees and carry off things that would block the roads, and then eventually gets to a place where we've gotten deep enough to where even the loggers of and knights from Stormguard, doesn't really make sense for them to be like patrolling out this far, and we get to the end of the maintained road, and it gets to this place where the road stops being maintained from Stormguard and starts being maintained by the Rangers instead. And I'm imagining, I'm imagining that there's predominantly like fox people that are living in these woods, and that these like rangers are like these like gray-furred foxes. I'm kind of like looking ahead a little bit too, and just sort of thinking about some of the integrating that a bit. Mm-hmm. And their idea of a trail is very different from the idea of the people of Stormguard. I mean, definitely they still have need of trade. They want to encourage people to come through these woods, and there's perhaps certain agreements that they have with neighboring kingdoms and the people further to the east that they, part of their stewardship of the woods is making sure that that people can pass through. But through some strange, whereas the people of Stormguard, use axes and saws and stone to carve their way, the Rangers of the Mistwood seem to have a way of convincing the forest to keep the way clear. Like the trees just don't grow, along this trail, and it kind of meanders about, and there's grasses and things, and you might be concerned that maybe there's like rocks or logs or other things that we can't see, but it's just the way is always clear. It's always fine, and we're just kind of and I think the Magus knows this, and though the caravan driver is a bit concerned, the Magus, when we're just kind of going off into the kind of like blindly ahead and we can't really see the ground in front of us, the Magus knows that if we stick to as long as we stick to this path where you can see, as because there's no trees growing in this path, as long as we stick to that the way will be clear. And we see now, River, we see River walking alongside. Actually, maybe I'm on a horse at this point, and I'm riding, and my face is I'm kind of like hunched over a little bit. I think I'm actually feeling some tiredness in me, and the caravan continues on into the through the mist, and then so we kind of cross this threshold, past the Stormguard maintained road, and one by one we sort of see the caravan kind of like disappear into this mist, until it gets to River. And as I pass through the mist, we're seeing now from my perspective how the mist actually begins to thin and grow more clear, until I'm on the other side of this path now, and the mist itself has actually parted, just around this trail, and we can see quite clearly now that this this path, and it's just verdant. There's there's wildflowers growing, and there's kind of ivy that's winding around trees, and the trees are just kind of arching overhead and forming this canopy. And I look as I can see people from the caravan looking at each other with delight after having not been able to so much as barely see the person in front of you for the last few days that we've been traveling. Now we suddenly have this really clear trail to be walking together. That's my scene.
That's beautiful.
Nice.
Hey, I love it in Mistwood.
I also would like to say how much I appreciate the descriptions that we all pour into our scenes. It really makes a difference being able to imagine and illustrate a painting in your head, like a whole movie.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. So I saw we were supposed to take a break in about 30-ish minutes. It was about 10 minutes ago, so it looks like we have time maybe for another short scene or two.
We have a hydrate from Game Raider Girl.
Oh my goodness, I'll have to get some water. I'll be right back.
I think I need a refill too.
Yeah. Thank you, Game Raider Girl.
Yes. I am very hydrated now.
Hydrate or dihydrate.
Okay, well, I'm gonna take my token out to that. The scroll.
Is that a Starbucks mug? Is that a Starbucks mug you're drinking from?
No, it's like it's an anthropology like latte
beautiful.
cup.
Oh, okay.
It's really nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't that lovely? Yeah.
I can respect that.
Yeah.
I'm all about colors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very short too. Kind of like that.
It looks
It's for
exactly
lattes.
like the Starbucks bin there mugs.
Right.
That's
totally,
why
totally.
I was like, what is that?
Okay.
So where are we off to next?
Yeah, we could do another scene. Well, it's so I just took a turn. So whoever is next, so anyone can go next, and they can either do another scene at the Mistwood, or we could play as the Magus and advance us to the next location.
Yeah, we've never done that before. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Or you've never done another scene after everyone's done a scene in a location?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, you can spend.
We just
extremely
keep
long-
going.
Yeah. I think I told you about Tasha Robinson's like 3-year-long Fall of Magic game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that is super cool. I
Wild.
think I actually really want to try that at some point.
Honestly.
Yeah, just make this into a whole campaign. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Actually, I might do that tomorrow. My idea. I was like trying to think of an idea for my session tomorrow, and I'm like, boom, Fall of Magic, real slow.
Slow.
Enjoy the burn. Is anybody feeling anything?
I have definitely tapped out what I feel inspired by in Mistwood. So if other people want to do Mistwood scenes, please go first.
Okay.
Because as soon as it's my turn, I am probably going to move the Magus, just because there's nothing here anymore that's calling out to me, unless, something happens.
Yeah, I'm all tapped out for Mistwood.
Like the Fire Nation attacks or something.
Well, then justice is bad.
Hell yeah.
I feel like I'll leave where my scene left.
This is one thing that's kind of nice sometimes if we stick to turn order, because then it's one person's job, and sometimes there's this like weird death by consensus that can happen in in GM-less games. So how about I'm just gonna say who went? Let's just say that we'll keep kind of the turn order that we kept the first time. So I think Mutiny, it's your turn now. And I can track turn
As
order.
for being in Mistwood, I can't think of really anything else.
Well, your options are to do another scene in Mistwood as your character, or to advance the Magus.
Rob and Marcy
I will
both
take
know
the
I
Magus.
very much don't like being the Magus.
Oh
gosh.
yeah.
Did
I'm
you
doing
have, but Marcy, did you have an idea that you wanted to do for the Magus? Because you had mentioned that you wanted to move forward.
No, I did not have an idea. I just knew that I also didn't have an idea for Justice in Mistwood. I heard Rob very quickly say that he was willing, so it sounds like Rob might have an idea.
We'll dive on all the grenades. Yes. Okay, so Hall of the Woods, Hospitality of the Grey Rangers. And I totally forgot who the Magus was. Sword. Okay, so everybody move their tokens up.
All right.
And so I'm actually going to continue where Ross left off describing that road, because I actually thought that was like really cool. And what I'm imagining is as we've sort of like pierced this veil of mist and we've entered onto the path that no longer, it's sort of like there's mist at the side of the path is what I'm envisioning, but it doesn't necessarily like permeate across the and like obscure our vision, and we continue down, and the trees they start to get a little bit smaller. Not like their growth is necessarily stunted, but they're and they haven't been cut, but everything seems to like dissipate, and we get into a bit of a clearing with some, like, the trees don't rise as high as they did, and everything is just sort of well maintained, but it doesn't look like anybody actually ever touches it. The grass is short. Everything is, it's like a peaceful meadow almost. And we see just ahead of us a small building, and it has like a stone sort of courtyard a bit in front of it. And as we exit the larger aspect of the forest, beside us, 4 or 5 of the gray foxes come out, and they sort of drop their hoods, and you can tell that they've been flanking us for a while. They've sort of watched what we've been doing as we pass through the forest.
Yes.
Do
their hoods have little cutouts for the ears, or no cutouts for the ears? I'm just really curious.
Oh yes. Now that you've said it, I like that idea.
Definitely do.
Yeah, definitely do.
Can I make a submission?
Yes.
They aren't hole cutouts for the ears. They're hoods for the ears.
Yes. Yeah, they got little like. Totally. You don't want to get water in your ears.
On their back.
Do they have openings though? Like, or is it?
Oh
just...
yeah, you got to be able to hear stuff, man.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
It's a hoodie with hoodies.
Yeah, I love it.
Awesome.
I'm super into that.
And they drop their hoods with the little hoods for ears, and they step out in front. Does somebody want to play one of the foxes?
Oh, I'm definitely one of those foxes.
Actually, do we want to have multiple?
Also.
Yeah,
I would love to be in that.
Awesome.
Or even as Caspian, whichever.
Okay, since we've all...
It's your scene.
Yeah, no, since like a couple people want to play the foxes...
Was your scene, now it's our scene.
Hijacked.
Do they communicate together? The second you guys all jumped on it, I was like, does one talk and then another one talks and then another one talks? I know that'd be exceptionally hard to do. But do they like take turns as this, or is there one specific leader?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm not sure yet. But this one fox definitely is like really upset. And I don't think it has anything to do with you, but I think they're like really upset at one of the other foxes for something. What Mutiny? What did your fox do that really upset me? It doesn't have to have anything to do with this situation right now.
Yeah, no. Give me 1 second.
We have all the time in the world.
We can span it to 3 years too.
My fox is a prankster and stole your morning rations.
Yeah.
And hid them.
Yeah. Did you like leave a little riddle or something?
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, and I'm
like
holding.
You went to reach into your bag and you expected food, and there was a little note like, "I'm bad at riddles," but yeah, there was a little note with a riddle, and that you were just like, "It's too early for this."
Yeah, I'm holding the note in my paw right now.
Something.
Yeah, please.
My fox is the voice of reason in this little trio, and is absolutely utilizing that position of power to be like, "That was a great prank. What are you talking about?"
Yeah, right, totally. So in the midst of all this, you've shown up right now, and I'm really irritable. Greyleaf, the fox, is very irritable when she's hungry. No, when he's hungry, and I just look and I say, "Oh, of course you've come. Now we've got to roll out the red carpet for you, I suppose."
Greyleaf, take it off about 20%. It is only appropriate that we be welcoming of guests, especially when the Magus is among them.
The Magus like leans down to Caspian. You've got this. I will
Sorry,
follow
say
your...
that again.
You got this.
Oh, I can't play two characters. Okay,
You don't have to.
yeah.
You can be like Caspian says no.
Yeah.
But Caspian's not there.
It's true.
Caspian just says the gray foxes are a different breed. I can't help you here. Caspian's a red fox.
Yeah, you just sort of like assume. That's not cool, Magus.
And the Magus... True. The Magus steps forward. Pardon the offense, I suppose.
Sutma is going to step forward, hand out for a shake, and say, Magus, of course there was no offense on your part. You have stumbled onto an unfortunate pre-existing situation.
Sorry, Marcy, what did you say your name was?
Sutma.
Sutma.
I like that.
Thank you.
That's cool.
I decided to run with the gray leaf thing. I love it. We're doing it. There is no offense on your part, of course. You've simply come here at an inopportune time, and how could you predict such a thing? It is, of course, our pleasure to welcome you, and I think once you hear the story about why Greyleaf is so upset, you will have a good laugh with me, and perhaps buy him a drink.
Oh, I heard that. I heard that, Sutma, and it is not funny. I'm hungry.
It's a little funny.
My food, my meal was stolen, and I was left instead with this ridiculous limerick.
This is an entire forest full of opportunity. All right. Would you? Can I know? Do you have a name yet?
Moonstone.
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 Would you fault Moonstone for unplugging your bath beside a lake?
Yes.
In
fact, I would. Moonstone. I'll tell you what, Magus. We'll take care of you. We will fulfill our Ranger's pledge. But don't expect me to be happy about it. We've got our own problems.
Grandest of Maguses, and Moonstone bows all the way down and says, sorry, what was it again? Graypaw?
There's Greyleaf,
Greyleaf.
Sutma, and Moonstone are fox names.
Oh, grandest of Maguses. Greyleaf is but the grumpiest of rangers today. You must ignore her disgusting grumpiness.
Well spoken, Moonstone, and you should pay heed to that, Greyleaf.
All right.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go and try and try and solve this ridiculous riddle that you've made me, so I can get my rations. You're gonna have to take care of. You're gonna have to take care of the Magus, and oh my god! And I think I just realized how many of you there are, as people kind of continue rounding the bend.
Moonstone pulls a berry out of their pack and just kind of throws it at the back of Greyleaf's ear.
Oh my goodness! Does it hit?
Yes, definitely.
All right, great.
You can't be that good of a prankster without.
What's that?
You can't be that good of a prankster without having good aim.
True.
Yeah. So the berry hits my ear. We see it fall to the ground. I look down at the berry. I look at you, and my eyes kind of narrow. You see, I've got these really bright, fiery eyes, and I'll say, "You're gonna regret that, Moonstone." And I walk off.
Moonstone giggles and looks at the Magus and says, "I regret nothing ever."
Truly the only failing of Moonstone. We all have fun, and it is significant. And as much as we appreciate a good riddle or a limerick here, some things are just engraven in stone for all to see. And this is Moonstone's truth that you have witnessed. And we hope that you will enjoy your time here. Obviously, your whole retinue will not fit inside of our humble hall, but we do have much cleared space. You are welcome to build fire upon it. You are welcome to cook upon it. You are welcome to hunt these woods. All we ask is that you clean up after yourself. You will not make it out of here if you don't clean up after yourself.
The Magus this whole time has just been looking back and forth as like each one of you has been talking and trying to discern, like, there clearly is no leader, but like who to address.
Well, Greyleaf's gone.
Yeah, Greyleaf has like walked away, and like the Magus was just like walking as they disappeared into the woods. We will not take advantage of the Ranger's pledge. We will, of course, humbly accept your offer of being able to hunt the woods and cook our own food. We have brought enough rations from Barley Town to be able to sustain ourselves. We would not want to put you out, as it were. We appreciate it. And thank you. It's always good to be reminded that there is still joy in this world, perhaps even at the expense of others, but I'm happy to see that you are all still thriving in these woods.
Sutma is going to do a big bow, just like Moons did, and said, "Thank you, the Magus of Maguses," and is going to turn on their heel and like say over their shoulder, "We have enough room for about 10 in the Great Hall," and then as they're walking away is going to put their arm around Moonstone and say, "Did you hear they have rations? How much rations do they have? How much limerick do you think we need?"
Oh no.
Caspian definitely heard that comment.
Yeah.
It's going to be an old-fashioned ration hunt.
Thank you for your hospitality, the sootiest of Maz. And the Magus does a bow as well. And the Magus definitely also heard. Actually, no, I'm going to go with Caspian, like, whispered it in the Magus's ear what they said. And that's scene.
I love them.
Yes.
I think we need a whole spin-off series.
Totally.
They really remind me of the three hyenas in The Lion King.
Oh, sure. Totally.
I love them so much.
I will remember this.
Chekhov's berry.
Oh, now you said it out loud, though. Now we all have a responsibility here.
Well, I'm going to wait a long time. It's going to be like a super long time.
All right, so Ray did say new scene or break. Up to us. What's everybody thinking?
Take a little break-a-rooney.
Like,
So Marcy's just like, I'm break.
I'm ready
I
for
need
a
to
break.
catch
Yeah.
It's like, peace. Oh, cool.
I can't play Justice after playing Sutma.
No, totally. Okay, so 10 minutes. We'll come back at when our individual clocks say 50.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, sounds good. See y'all soon. Yeah, lots. I was on tour when I was in my 20s. I was on tour for like 2 to 4 months out of the year every year.
Oh, that's so cool.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work. I toured Europe 3 times.
Wow. Oh, that would have been so.
Hey, everybody.
Jeez. Okay.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Me as well, yeah.
I'm ready.
Someone said, "What? You don't see any dinner, and you're getting upset." Does this count? I'm having a little tangerine. I had some dinner before. I wanted to grab something to count for this dinner part.
Michael just ordered skip the dishes, so I'll have dinner soon.
All right.
Hooray. So.
Where are we at?
Well, hey, welcome back, everybody.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, welcome.
Don't mind me, I'm peeling my orange.
It's great to be here.
So, I just finished the description for the Hall of the Woods and the Hospitality of the Grey Rangers, our lovely trio of fantastic Grey Foxes. Does anybody feel the scene?
I'm kind of feeling a scene. If Mutiny, if you would be interested in, I could go either way with this. I would like a scene where one person is saying they literally said that they're going to steal our rations to prank us, and the other person is saying that's not a big deal, like they're not going to steal them, something along those lines. And I'm hoping to do that scene with Caspian, and I'm wondering if you would rather be the one saying this is a bad idea or the one who's saying can you chill out.
Sorry, can you say that again?
I would like to do a scene where one person is saying that staying the night with the Grey Rangers is a bad idea because of the mischief they've already preferred. And so I could do that scene. I would like to do that scene with Caspian, and I'm asking if you would rather be the one defending the Grey Rangers or saying that this is a bad idea. I will start the scene regardless.
I think Caspian is chill with it. Like,
okay,
he knows the Grey Rangers. They're a whole breed unto themselves, but they're not gonna hurt anyone. So.
Okay, so, I'm imagining this is pretty shortly after the Hospitality of the Grey Rangers was offered. Fires haven't been lit yet. Mostly like the retinue is still kind of circling around the clearing and setting up, like putting brakes on the carts and untethering the horses from the carts and all that sort of stuff. And I'm imagining that there is room in the Great Hall, and that the Magus and the immediate escort are there, and maybe the rest is some of the Magus's personal servants. So basically, we're like putting down packs and stuff. I'm imagining that the Great Hall is a hunting lodge sort of place with a big fire in the middle and wooden pillars made from the taller trees from further out in the Mistwood, places where the trees haven't been talked into growing smaller. And there are no rooms in the Great Hunting Hall. There are just beds, like bunk beds, set into the walls, all along three of the walls. And yeah, we're basically putting our packs down, and Caspian and Justice have one of the bunk bed sets. Does Caspian prefer the top bunk or the bottom bunk?
Top.
Top?
Big,
okay.
Big spoon
No.
or little spoon?
No, sorry, bottom.
Okay, so Justice has just put their bag on the bottom at the bottom bunk, and is saying, "Okay, but I heard what you said to the Magus. They said that they're gonna steal our rations. This is not where we should be staying tonight. I don't think we have time for this sort of tomfoolery."
Justice, I didn't say that they were going to steal our rations. They're just harmless tricksters. Not even all of them. Just a couple.
Okay, but a couple of tricksters is enough to set us back on our journey, and the travel through Mistwood has already slowed us down. I don't think that we have time for scooting around like this.
Greyleaf steps out of the shadows. You want to stop them from stealing your rations? I can help.
Look.
Can you help? Is it Greyleaf? Is Greyleaf?
Greyleaf.
Can you help? Because it sounds like you got your ration. It sounds like you got took, and you are the last person that I should be listening.
I was about to say the same, actually.
Cool. And then steps back into the shadows.
Wait, I want to be clear that I was not being confrontational to kick Greyleaf out of the scene.
No, I didn't. Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
It's all good.
Okay. In that case, Justice is going to be like, yeah, you better.
And why do you think Greyleaf's out of the scene? He's just in the shadows. He hasn't gone anywhere. He might.
Yeah, Caspian looks at where Greyleaf walked away, and
He's
just
like
says,
clearly in the shadows. You can see his eyes.
and Caspian says to Justice, "There's no harm here. There, as much as maybe a couple will want to play games, we have a roof over our head, and we have song and dance and food. There's nothing wrong with that."
Whoa. Hang on. No one said dancing was going to be involved. Is there going to be dancing here? It's not a whole different story, but is this like a party spot? What I thought. This is a hunting lodge. Are we partying here? What's the deal? This is your people. Tell me.
Caspian keeps like opening his mouth to say something. Is surprised by how much Justice keeps talking. And says, it's the Grey Rangers. It's just a fun time. It's yeah, I guess so. I've never thought of it as a party spot, but it's never a dull moment for sure.
Are you good with riddles, Caspian?
No.
No?
Not really.
The Magus has got to be good with riddles, right? Like, how would you be the Magus if you weren't good with riddles? The Magus has got to be good with riddles.
I would imagine he is. He knows magic and wonder and all the mysteries of the world. So riddles are one of those things.
Yeah, but you know magic.
I don't know magic.
Justice is gonna like visibly realize their misstep and like blush a little bit and say, "Well, no, I know you don't know how to do magic, but like you watch, you observe."
I don't know what you mean.
Well, I've seen you watching the Magus, and I've seen you going to the scrying pool, and like I don't really care for magic. This is a job for me, and I appreciate what the Magus does to the land, for the land and for the people, which is why I've sworn my sword and my shield to the Magus. But I've seen you paying closer attention to the magic itself. I feel like you're a bit of an authority on the subject.
Caspian scurries up onto the top bunk uncomfortably and starts busying himself with his things and says, I'm really not. I just like to watch. I don't know much about magic itself.
Today's Dragon Rider happy hour drink is going.
Do you want me to take the top bunk? I can take the top bunk. I didn't even ask. I'm sorry. That was rude of me.
I do like feeling like I'm in a den more. Caspian blushes a little.
And Jess is gonna say, "Yeah, I can totally take the top bunk," and is gonna like pick their pack up before you even move, and then like loudly like put it on the top bunk at Caspian's feet.
I mean, if you're okay with that.
That
cool
would be fine. That would be fine for me.
Just keep an eye on your stuff. And you'll be fine here.
I'm gonna keep an eye on my stuff. I'm obviously tying this to my feet while I sleep. I'm not. I can see we can dance all night, and I know that these they're tricksters. I've read a book. Okay, I know about tricksters. Can you help though?
Not tricks like these. You haven't. And Greyleaf kind of unwraps the dried leaf covering of one of his protein bars and starts chewing on it.
Finally found his rations.
Yeah, he did.
You figured it out.
Caspian looks at him and then looks back at Justice and says, I really think it's just a couple of them. You shouldn't have to worry too much.
Greyleaf?
Yes.
Can I see the riddle?
Sure, you can see the riddle.
And I think that's where I would like to end the scene.
Sounds great.
I think that is Justice's why we must stay, is because Justice is unwilling to admit to herself that she feels excited by the prospect of how mischievous this place is.
All right.
Well, I kind of have an idea.
Do it.
I need someone to play a character, and it's kind of like, so Rob, you know the Grand the Grand Meowster?
Yep.
I want a fox version of her.
Hell yes.
she's basically this giant like cat in this game who cooks for a feast for the hunters, and I imagine a giant like fox, very plump and like grandma like, of course, stirring this giant pot of stew, and her name's like Peppercorn or something like that.
Peppercorn.
Can I make like a quick thing? Can I pull in any one of the 3 foxes just to like do things that I want them to do?
Of course.
Okay, cool. All right.
What do you think we're here for?
Gotta help the grain.
I'm here to chew bubblegum and play foxes.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
I wanted that to be in the Circle of Ancients, a disturbing ritual, because we don't know what they put in this stew, so we're gonna play it out and see what they have in this.
It is human skin.
Oh God.
All right. Yeah, I'm ready anytime.
Okay. So Harp trottles along and tries to find a little spot or inn where she can gather up on her rations, I guess. And she opens the door to see this like tavern that is boisterous and full of clinking beers and barrel like cups are being used. It's wooden tables and just like candles lighting around in little lanterns. And she walks up to the bar and she notices in kind of like at the back this giant pot that's being stirred, like a clay pot that seems to have stirred and mixed like hundreds of meals over the last however long it's happened. And yes, I wanted to mention before we start any of this, there is a contest, and Ross, would you like to take away this?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we're giving away some of the digital editions for Fall of Magic. So if you're enjoying this and you'd like to try it out with your friends, just type Deernicorn in chat, and we will do a drawing. We'll be giving away some Roll20 keys. So type Deernicorn in chat, and then you will be eligible for that.
Yes. All right. So she hobbles along and kind of like looks a little questioningly to this giant fox that she's never really seen. Kind of like the fox race, I guess, in the sense. She's still a little bit unfamiliar, and she's like, excuse me.
Oh, yes.
I've been walking far long while now. Would you happen to have a nice pot of stew that I could have?
And she has still been like stirring this thing the whole time. She hasn't turned around at all yet. And at this point, she sort of like turns to look at you.
Greyleaf.
And it's like so quiet, but you can hear it over the din. Like everybody's like always paying attention to what this woman says.
yes, Peppercorn.
Could
I've been grating onions. Of course, just a second. Let me put down this onion and this grater. Okay. We have
no crying in the stew.
Down now. Nope. Okay, and then and then Greyleaf walks over towards you and takes the stirring stick.
Yep.
and proceeds to stir the stew.
Is it like a giant wooden spoon?
Oh,
no,
yeah.
It's a stick.
Oh, it's okay.
Oh, it's just a stick.
Oh, like an oar, like a paddle.
Yeah. I'm imagining like their aesthetic is very much like a bark on kind of like round pole kind of aesthetic. Because remember they've got like freaky. I think they've got like there's definitely some kind of like freaky, plant whisperer stuff going on here.
Yeah.
So like they probably even just like convinced the tree to kind of like grow in the correct shape, and then it just kind of like gently twisted off, and they've got this like stick. There's like even a little sprig of leaf coming off of it, and like the table almost looks like it kind of like grew out of the ground, and it's like.
This is so very Studio Ghibli. I love it.
Yeah.
Very, very Ghibli. Trey Ghibli.
I would like to add a smidge of flavor in the background if Moonstone is good with it.
Moonstone's good with everything, always.
Yeah, Moonstone's good vibes only.
Greyleaf has been asked by Peppercorn to stir the stew, and so is bound in some sense. As soon as that happens, I feel like Sootmaw and Moonstone both like saunter over and are like staring at Greyleaf as they fried ration bars into the stew.
You're getting hazed over here. All right.
Fierce. You can't muddle the stew.
And she like smacks you with like the little wooden ladle that she has. She like smacks your hands and you drop the ration bar.
but it just falls straight into the stew.
Oh man.
You feel so like Greyleaf.
just adding some extra flavor.
And when you are old enough, I will let you add the flavor, but my dear, you do not know how to flavor the stew if you're flavoring it with the ration bars that these foreigners have brought in.
Oh, but the flavors are good.
Dearest mother, fear not. These are Greyleaf's ration bars. They contain no flavor. We are merely adding protein to the stew.
Oh, I did make those last week. I'm sure they're fine. But anyways, yes, dear, you did ask.
Yes. I was just so quite curious if I could bother your trouble some for a little bowl of stew. I would actually like to ask, what is in the stew?
Well, first of all, you're so thin, I'm not giving you a little bowl.
And I don't imagine you're necessarily a thin woman.
Harp is plump.
Yeah.
You're so thin. You absolutely will have the largest bowl in the house. But
should I get the largest bowl, Peppercorn?
Yes.
All right, I'll get it.
I bet I could find a larger bowl.
You want to get the bowl, Moonstone? Be my guest.
I can find a larger bowl than you can find.
I'm trying to fish my rations out of here with a stick. It's not easy.
Oh, just let us enjoy them.
All right. Well,
I like rations in my stew.
You think you could find a larger bowl, huh?
I can find a larger bowl.
We'll see about that. And I set down the stick and I go off to find the largest bowl, the second largest bowl in the Circle of Ancients, unbeknownst to me.
Sutma, make sure the stew doesn't burn. You have to always stir it, as I always say.
All right, I'm back with this bowl and it's really big.
How big is your bowl?
My bowl is the second largest bowl in the hall. In all of the Hall of the Woods.
You hobble while you're holding it.
Yeah, it's just like.
Moonstone comes back with just like another cauldron, and it's like, this counts as a bowl, right?
Moonstone. All right, you win.
I know.
This time.
Harper's just witnessing all this.
Bars, huh?
I put some stew in my bowl and go off to eat it by myself in the shadows.
Greyleaf, you're so funny.
Yeah. A good thing can't hear you in the shadows.
Too edgy to hear you.
There's shadows in my ear.
Yeah, totally. Can't hear you. I'm in the shadows.
I think Sutma has taken over the stirring, and it's like a little in-joke with Moonstone that Sutma kind of like, while stirring, edges around the fire so that their shadow is cast from the fire across Greyleaf, and now...
Oh, you're not even going to give Greyleaf the shadows. Yeah, Greyleaf notices this. Greyleaf knows what you're doing. He's not amused. I think we just see kind of like furry gray fox maw in the shadows, and like the lip just kind of like slightly like curls up, and we see just like a little fang as it kind of quivers a little bit, and as Greyleaf like whispers under his breath, it's like, "You will regret that, Sutma. Oh yes, you will."
It's killing. And Peppercorn, after like witnessing this, like affectionately pats Moonstone on the head for like finding the largest eating implement.
I'm sorry, Marcy called Peppercorn mom. Are we all siblings?
Oh.
And Peppercorn is our mother.
Yeah.
Sure, that sounds good.
Yes.
I was just thinking, like, Greyleaf has major middle sibling energy.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true.
Oh man.
And Moonstone is the third child.
Right.
I can already tell who's the oldest, who's the youngest.
Well, Sutma, and Moonstone, actually, I know it'll probably take the both of you. Could you fill this bowl for our lovely guest while I tell her... Well, I won't tell her what's in the stew.
I hear that. I was like, I would like to know just exactly
good things, all secrets.
Oh,
just eat the stew. Moonstone like scoops it without making they're making contact with Harp and not even looking. They're just kind of spilling it into the bowl and like, all good things, don't ask questions.
She's like, allergies?
I could tell you that the fairy tale that I always told my lovely children.
It's a good fairy tale, Mom!
Yeah, she takes down like her hat, puts it down, and kind of tries to get comfortable, and the bar's still there, like, while watching the splashing of the soup in the bowl. Like, that's a little excessive, dear.
No, it's definitely not enough. And let me start the story. It's not the beginning, but it's the most important part. And it starts at the Spirit Lake. A lake far to the west. Well, not far, I guess. For me it is.
It's a stone's throw, Ma. I'll go there if you need it.
Thank you, dear. I don't need it right now, but I always appreciate your enthusiasm and help.
How big is Peppercorn?
Peppercorn stands almost as tall as a person. I would say like 5 feet tall.
All right, cool.
She is larger than the others, I'm imagining, and is of course like quite rotund, and like fluffy. I love her.
We have brought up Studio Ghibli, so I am very much imagining like Yubaba proportions. Like,
yes,
there is always the like crone who is either a villain or a friend, but always has like significant proportions compared to the rest of the people in the world.
Exactly.
And I imagine that.
Yep, that is 100% it. And
yes, it all starts at the Spirit Lake. As you know, I'm sure, that a soup is nothing without its broth. And it starts at the Spirit Lake, where it is said that, of course, an ancient ritual was performed. Something perhaps sinister, but created a unique flavor. And we use the water from there. And then we take from a place we call the Wild Altar. There are offerings left there by things we are not even aware of. Perhaps there is still magic in this world, and there are mysteries, and we don't know what leaves it there. But boiling the bones and the skin that is left on the Wild Altar creates...
She widens her eyes just like... Okay.
Creates such a umami that even not knowing what it is, I can't resist putting it in the stew. And then we of course go to the hunting grounds, and where my lovely children find only the ripest of fruits and the liveliest of creatures. And we take them.
And she's like, she's gotten very close to you at this point.
Stew sounds gross.
Peeling their skin, taking the fur, everything that would be undesirable, and placing it in the stew. Taking the freshest fruits. Sometimes they're so ripe that they reach that point where they're a little bit too squishy. And that's what we use to make the stew. Or it would be if I wasn't completely pulling your leg.
And she like taps you with her spoon.
It's just a soup, dear.
It's just mostly potatoes.
It's
potatoes and venison.
Yeah.
There's wild carrots.
During that story, Caspian also kind of joined from his own shadows and just like, oh, a fairy tale. Caspian's kind of sitting in the background.
Caspian is just like, this is good Fox entertainment.
Yeah.
This is the wildest lie I've ever heard. I can't
So
wait
funny.
for the shit to drop.
Love.
Heart.
Because
Oh no, continue.
because we are a family here. Very disconnected from the rest of the world. Or maybe not disconnected, but it's hard for other people to reach us. And so we have each other. So telling stories, making fun, and of course, having fun at the expense of our guests is a lovely pastime. No harm meant, of course. And it is just soup, full of love, full of happiness. And it is, if I do say so myself, fantastic. The bowl's not a joke, though.
She looks up at like the menu that's like placard like on the wood above the kitchen station, but it's just like the listed items, but before every like word, like every food item, it's just mystery. Mystery stew, mystery like meal.
Yep.
She takes a big gulp and she hesitates at the table. Looks over to the side for the spoon and says so graciously, "Oh, why, thank you. It's such a great company to provide such delicious smelling stew." Still gullible of like all the tales.
Oh, I do always forget. Sutma, grab the antidote. I know that the spirits always trouble people's stomachs.
Sutma has like an empty vial on a chain around their neck. So it says, "Oh, I keep it close as hand. You never know when someone's gonna succumb to the spirits, Ma."
And you are so vigilant.
She takes.
I would take that quickly.
She takes the vial and pops off the little cork lid off, and then just like takes a shot of it. Wow, that is spicy. All right. Well, you know what? I would never deny someone's food and hard work, and I see that you've raised such wonderful children, and you have such hard workers. And looks back to Greyleaf sitting in the corner, just muttering to himself like. Just takes the spoon.
Here.
And she just takes a sip of it, and she's like, "Oh, and she like continues finishing, like a quarter of this giant cauldron. Is like, I don't think I could finish all this. Do you think I could take this for my other travelers with me?"
Oh, of course.
But don't forget the antidote. And she hands you, it's just a bottle that has like the 3 X's on it. And she just hands you like a jug of that.
It's always best to be had with the soup.
And Moonstone comes up behind her and says, "There's always more to go around."
Oh my goodness.
It's like some horrifying ghost. I love this.
I want to take the giant cauldron, but I want Caspian to kind of like carry it on his back, kind of like out the door, and me like taking this giant like bottle with the XXX. Like, all right.
Yes, Caspian will absolutely help with that.
All right, and then that will be seen.
I love that the disturbing ritual was not the soup making, but just
Yeah.
the customs of these hermits.
Right, totally.
If it's, I would like to add a sprig of flavor to the end of this scene because of the stuff that we've outlined here, and I would just like to say that like the camera follows Harp leading Caspian out with this cauldron, and in the background you see Sutma, the oldest sibling, with a bowl of the stew go and sit down beside Greyleaf and like give them the bowl, and then also pull out a dried ration bar and like on the
Aww.
Yeah. Takes the ration bar. I was getting hungry.
so cute.
Yeah, okay, cool. Sweet. All right.
I just so wanted
Giving me so many feelings.
big old fox grandma.
Yeah, I was gonna do like meow meow meow, but because she's a fox, I was like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Foxes make more like sounds.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't really. I'm not up to date on my fox noises, so I was like, I don't want to touch that one.
What does the fox say?
I want you to know that Mal loves that track now, by the way.
It's my favorite song.
It's a good song.
Mal requests it by name now.
Mal and I
showed
have
that track
exquisite
because of you.
They know what's up. They're ahead of their time.
All right.
Sweet.
Spirit Lake.
Ooh.
I'll do a scene. We see. Yeah, I think. In this scene, I'm kind of interested in. Let me just start by describing Spirit Lake. So, yeah, Spirit Lake is. It's very tranquil. There are tall reeds that grow around it. It's one of the few places in the forest where you can see the sky very clearly, because there's so much beautiful, tall, like overgrowth everywhere else. And but you get to the lake, and it's nighttime right now, and there's the moon is out and reflecting up out of the waters. And we see heron kind of nesting up in the trees surrounding the lake. And and River's gone for a swim, which means she just kind of like wades in the water. She can't swim, she's not buoyant. So when she goes, but River like disrobes all the same, and we see her kind of like a pile of her clothes really neatly folded by the shore, and then like kind of her up to the waist in the water, and kind of like feeling the surface of the water with her hands as they're going back and forth. And there's this kind of like spreading, this kind of like I'm not certain, like I've described her skin in the past as being like really kind of like mossy and dirty, and I think that like what she's doing is as she's in the water, she's actually like reaching down and grabbing gravel and like kind of using it to like scrub scrub herself clean. And others among us, anyone else who wants the character to be in the scene is there as well, kind of by the shore. It's really warm, and there are foxes here as well. There's other rangers are here swimming, enjoying the water. Is anyone else's character in the scene? And if they are, please tell us what we see and what your character's doing right now.
I would like for Justice to be in this scene. I think that Justice has been following the riddle, but not really super intent on solving it. Like, has kind of gotten into the vibe of the hospitality of the Grey Rangers. Was never too concerned, just a little concerned because of their job more than their personal drive. As one of the leaders of this retinue, their issue was just that, like, maybe this isn't a great spot, but like if they had come here on a vacation, they would be like, this is the shit.
Yeah.
And so they've been following this riddle, but kind of more appreciating the Hall of the Woods and the surrounding areas. And I think Justice has come down to the shore and seen River out in the water like this, and I think as this scene starts, Justice is also like stripping off their knight armor. I think they have like leather and chain with plate over it, and for the night they take off the plate and it's just the leather and chain. And I think now they're taking off the leather and chain because they are wanting to join River in the water.
Wonderful.
I think Harp is there as well, and she had kind of like taken off her pouches and her backpacks to the side, taking the pouch with the rocks and taking each individual one to wash in the water just by the shore, feeling the rush of water kind of climb up the shore and then retract back, enjoying this soothing sight, I guess, this feeling and the sounds of the water.
Oh, sorry. Actually, I think Elamira is there, and she's just similar to her like morning ritual previously. She's like set out a couple objects in front of her, and is like going over them while watching River in the water, and is just like happily enjoying the situation.
I don't think Caspian would be there, but it would be fun to have Moonstone there.
Sure.
If that's Moonstone interesting.
What do you think is doing right now?
Caspian right now would be out in the woods, just. He might even be on a trail with a ranger, actually.
Maybe doing some hunting.
Yeah. Just enjoying the forest and learning from these foxes. But I think Moonstone would be in the water as well, just kind of swimming around and having a good time. Just watching the newcomers and enjoying this exciting new thing happening.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I think, we see, the five of us near one side of the shore, while there's others, other of the rangers are kind of like swimming to this little, I think maybe there's like a little island in the middle of the lake that they will swim out to, and just kind of sit on the island, and it looks like there's like some kind of stone altar there that they'll sit, and they just kind of are really, really peaceful, and the altar's kind of carved and has different figures that are carved into it, foxes, like different fox faces, of rangers that have been lost, rangers that have, either passed away or, been lost in the Mistwood at some point. And this is a place where they come and remember their ancestors. And I see, Justice, you seemed kind of like you were the closest to me, and I see you get ready to get into the water. River looks at her and says, I heard you were trying to solve one of those fox riddles. I hear they're devilishly difficult. Any luck?
I personally have never had a head for riddles, but I know that you have some life and experience under your belt, perhaps many lives of experience under your belt. Would you find a brain teaser a fun way to pass the time?
I wouldn't say many lives, just one very long life. And, and as River's kind of like scraping it off, it almost feels like she's scraping one of these this part of this life off right now, as like some of the moss and other things that have taken advantage of the cracks in her in her skin. She's kind of like, and you can see there's sort of this cloud of little like particles of moss and other things kind of in a oily ring around her in the lake. Sure. I'm sure these fox riddles can't be any harder than the giant riddles.
Oh, the giant riddles. That's true. You were among the defense of Barleytown, was it?
Yes, but before that, I actually used to be good friends with a giant.
I suppose you wouldn't be playing around with giants' riddles in a war.
No, the war came later, much later. There was, let's just say there was a misunderstanding, a tragic misunderstanding.
I haven't lived through a war, but I've read a few books, and it seems like that's how most of them start.
You know what's difficult about a giant riddle?
Tell me, please.
It's about the perspective. You have to think like a giant to understand the riddle, and the giants, everything is so terribly small to them. And they see things from so far up high that, they just think differently.
Do you think a bird might have a knack for the riddle of a giant?
I do. So if you're going to solve that fox riddle, well, you're going to have to think like a fox.
Well, the things that I know about thinking like a fox are this. Dens are comfortable. That's it.
Yes, well, maybe you have someone you could ask. Could help you to think more like a fox.
I think that you are correct. And I think that maybe I have asked much of them already. I think that the solving of this riddle is less what I am interested in and more keeping busy. I don't know. My arm was meant for swinging a sword, and when there is nothing to swing a sword at, I get antsy. Your arm was meant for swinging a sword, and you have not swung one in a long time. How have you managed this?
River stops scrubbing with her right arm and lets the handful of river stones kind of fall out. Sift through her fingers and looks at her arm, and for a moment sees that glorious curved blade that was gifted to her, that was forged for her by the Magus in it, but wet with blood. And then the vision passes, and she's back at the river, or at the lake again. And she says, I was built for a purpose. I was built to be a warrior. And I fought the Magus' wars for many years. And when there were no more wars to be fought... What was that?
Lots of misunderstandings.
Yeah, lots of many misunderstandings. So I had to find a new purpose. I had to find a new reason to be. And I'm still looking for that. I haven't quite found it yet. But I look at everyone we've brought with us, at all of the swords the Magus has brought along on this journey, and all of the arms to carry them, not the least of which yours. It seems that there's a very large misunderstanding that we are headed for.
I have spent a long time expecting a misunderstanding to be the start or the end of something for me. And to that end, I suppose it's best that I remain antsy without something to swing my sword at, because I believe that I will still need to swing it. And Justice, I feel like Justice has been like kind of like reverse dog paddling in circles around River during this conversation, and is going to stop and like quickly dunk their head underwater and then come back up as this ring of oil and broken bits of moss and plants has slowly been carried away from us during this conversation. And Justice is going to say, some of these cracks have spread to your back, and I can clean those if you would like.
That would be lovely, thank you. And I think that happens for some time. And when it's completed, we see, kind of jumps ahead in time a little bit, and we see River noticing now that there's no one at that island in the center. And so River turns and walks towards the island, and we see her head disappear underneath the water, and we see her walking, with the moon kind of shining above the surface of the water over her head as she walks along the floor of the lake, and then gradually comes to the island and walks step after step. She emerges from the lake and is there by the stone, and sits down and kind of runs her fingers over the stone, and turns back towards Justice. They remember those who are lost this way by carving their names in stone. And do you have anyone that you've lost? Is there a face you would see carved in here?
This feels like a place for those who were lost through tribulation, and I have not lost anyone that I'm aware of in that way. But I think since we have made pouches kind of a thing for this story, I think that Justice also has a pouch, and it is an oiled pouch that is moderately waterproof, and Justice pulls out some glass jars and says, "There is one face that I think should belong here," and is going to start using their fingers to draw the face of the golem on the stone.
And I see that, and I say, am I lost to you? Is this my face you draw?
No, I suspect that I will be lost long before you are. My concern is more that by the time you are lost, there won't be someone here to do this.
And I kind of put my hand up to my face and say, the Magus carved my face out of stone. I wonder if they lost someone. I'll go ahead and end that scene there.
I'm just gonna say the fireflies are just slowly illuminating this, just one by one it comes out.
Cool.
This is so beautiful.
So lovely. I'm having a funny Skype issue where I can only see Rob's lovely face.
Oh.
Well, that's a lovely face to see.
It's very lovely.
Yeah.
Maybe if I switch to, maybe I should switch to that mode where we're all standing in the Coliseum again. I'm just kidding. I'll try switching to speaker view and then back to grid view, and then maybe that'll fix it for me.
That has worked for me before.
Okay, cool. Anyhow, that was my scene. Thank you so much.
That was a fantastic scene.
Yep.
Wow. My heart. Oh.
So it's 5:45. And it'd be nice for me anyhow if maybe we ended or 5:45 PST if we ended in 15-ish minutes. Do we want to do like another scene first? Would we like to do some? Is that okay timing for everybody else? We'd like to just kind of chat a little bit, do a little debrief. What are people feeling?
I feel like this would actually be a really great time for the draw.
Yeah, that would be a perfect way to end this.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
We can end with the fireflies and the beautiful moment, and
yeah.
Sounds great.
I've never played this game like this before, and it is doing something.
We played this game in a full 3-hour session, and that was it. And this hits different.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I will still never forget my first time playing it with Marcy. That actually killed me. Like, it was. There's a reason this is my favorite game.
First time, I don't think we didn't get very far. But my second time, I will never forget, and that was with Rob and Marcy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi guys. Thank you so much.
Hey, Ray.
First off, Shaz. That was wrong.
I had to bring it up. I saw it, and I was like, no.
But thank you guys so much. So what we're going to do is everyone, if you have not entered in the contest, I'm going to give you a few more moments while we do have a little conversation about the end of the game and everything like that. Type Deernicorn in chat, because I'm going to do a drawing from everyone who typed that word in chat. And then we're going to pull those and we're going to pick hopefully 5. It's 5, right, Ross?
Yeah, but maybe we could also space it out too. I don't know.
True.
Or whatever. Yeah, 5 is fine.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Well, first off, let me ask this. Are we continuing this?
I think that was the plan, right? We were going to, just play through this campaign.
So then why don't we do this? Just to keep it, since we're going to continue it, let's do 2 tonight. And then we will continue to do more drawings throughout the, however long you want to continue it out.
Yeah, that sounds
great. But we did miss
cool.
one from the last game, so we'll do 2 tonight to make up for it. And then we'll do more drawings as we go on.
Sounds great.
All right.
Awesome.
So let me get into here, and I will launch the contest in Nightbot. Come here, Nightbot. Stop running away.
Well, while you're doing that, I'd love to just kind of maybe do a little quick go around, and at the end of the session, kind of traditionally, we just kind of go around and everyone shares either how they're feeling right now, or a moment they enjoyed, appreciation of another player, or just a moment of silence if you just kind of feel like marinating a little more. Does that sound like something you all would like to do?
Heck yeah, it's my favorite part about this game.
Okay, cool. I can go ahead and go first. I think one of the highlights for me tonight was kind of that fun sibling rivalry with Marcy and Mutiny. I enjoyed it a lot, and it was it's kind of like one thing I really enjoy about story games is the opportunity to play characters that are low status and to play to lose, which is something that is a little harder to do maybe in a traditional role-playing game where it's more of like a hero's journey kind of story, and when you lose, it also means that a lot of times you lose a lot of narrative authority in the game because like your character's unconscious or something. Your turn gets skipped. So that was really fun. I really liked getting bullied by the two of you, so thank you very much. I appreciated it, and you will pay.
It is great to see that narrative taken out because I'm much more used to traditional RPGs because I'm old, and so I'm used to being running a game and playing all the NPCs. But to give everyone that agency of taking over the NPC role in the story, sometimes it's absolutely breathtaking to watch, because you get to feel, the input from so many other minds and so many other outlooks, that it just adds so much to the flavor of the game overall. You can't compare it to a single GM setting.
Totally.
Yep.
Okay, who'd like to go next?
I'd love to go next.
Yeah, let's hear it, Rob.
So I'm going to do appreciation of a player. And it's going to be Ross, because of I think the scene that really got me was your description of the changing mist and the trail of the Rangers. It was like something that I often forget, I guess, is to describe a place and a setting, and it was phenomenal. I could actually see everything as it was depicted, like how authors would describe a place so that you know what you're looking at, and it was I was there, and that was something that I really appreciated. And that is by no means I could go on for everybody, but that one I thought was a really cool moment. And if you guys will allow me, I will go on for everyone.
For the people who are paying attention to the cameras, I flip a marker around my fingers as a stim, and when Ross said verdant during that scene, I switched the color of I opened the pack and switched the color of the marker that I was.
Oh, we lost.
Oh,
I think we may have lost Marcy, because her camera stopped working.
No.
Yeah.
she dropped out.
Oh, she'll be back.
There we go.
There she is.
Sorry about that.
It's right. We just heard you're switching the color of the marker. You're explaining that.
Yeah, I opened the pack of markers that I have and switched to a green marker from the pink one that I was flipping, because that description and the word verdant just made me feel like my stim needed green.
Yep.
So that's a very autistic feeling, but people who are here through my TikTok probably will get that.
Yep.
I really needed to flip a green marker after hearing that description.
That's cool.
I would just like to say, well, just to overlap what I said earlier, how much I appreciate the effort and into putting such a descriptive scene, pulling all the senses in mind so that we can really paint what we're seeing, what we're watching here. And then it kind of gives us a path of where we want to go with this scene and with this environment. Kind of the more one player will add something, and then the next player will keep building onto that, and that's something I really love. It's just the incredible mental imagery that you get from it, and I also really like the how our group is able to go from such an emotional scene and really hits hard in the feels, and I was close to tears at one point. I was in that scene with Caspian, I was like I could cry right now. And then the next scene later in the tavern, I really love that switch and that way that we can be so passionate about this more sad scene, and then we can be equally passionate with a fun and boisterous and something that makes us all really laugh. And yeah. I just love you guys.
Yeah. Me too.
My bit was just an add-on to Rob's bit. I have an actual thing that I would like to say as my appreciation is everyone really brought it with the narrative and setting descriptions. This was a very textured game for us. We are very in the feelings of the game usually, which sings for me. The when the sun hits that side of the hills, they sing. I love it, but there was a lot of texture in this game, and I think that this pacing that Ross's participation has kind of opened up to us as not the usual way that we play Fall of Magic has really I'm seeing all of you react to it, seeing like Sharon like texturing a scene like that. Like, you're very new and you're very good, which is why I asked you to join us in this. You're a very fun person to play with, but that is a skill level. Like, I'm watching you grow in how you build a world, and it's fantastic. And like, Mutiny, your confidence today, oh my lord. Rob, like, nowhere to, like, obviously you can't improve. You are. Somehow. I don't know if I said Rob. I meant to say Rob. But you've been my favorite person to play with, and just even seeing you just doing things differently. There's been a real change that this approach has brought to our play, and witnessing it today was something for me. It was really something.
Well, Marcy, you're incredible too. You're
are very
just
incredible.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's
Totally.
Actually, I want to add to mine slightly, because I do want to do one for everyone, because I hate singlingly choosing love. I'm gonna start with Sharon or Shaz. Jesus. So Shaz.
Okay at this point.
Yeah, I know. My appreciation for you was first of all, thank you for letting me play old lady. But the scene that you did with Caspian and the stones and the feeling behind that was absolutely amazing. And everybody always says that I do like sad scenes, but it wasn't a sad scene, but it was a scene that made me feel, and that was like absolutely phenomenal. And for Mutiny, it was the creation of the three of you. But I really loved the fact that Moonstone was so like on board. Like, you took the reins there, and you were like, yeah, and you were like pushing the what is it called? Like the feel of that scene. So you were like, oh, okay, like you latched onto what I was doing, and you were like, hey, yeah, the soup's really good, and you played with that, and then the way that you played off of the two other brothers was absolutely phenomenal, and I'm so happy that you were confident enough to do that scene. Brothers and sisters, sorry.
Yeah, I upvote that comment, because seeing how like confident and also the way that you role played Moonstone got me so like hyped and excited, and I was like, yes, this is like what I envisioned.
And for Marcy, of course, that final scene, you and Ross doing you cleaning the back, the way you described you swimming around and then cleaning Ross's or River's back, and then going to the island. It wasn't like you guys were just playing a scene. Like you were playing off of each other, but it flowed so well that it was like, wow, did you guys like discuss this prior? That's how well it flowed.
I think
I was
gonna say, I think that really does come down to the fact that, you know, they did an amazing job of inhabiting the character.
Yep.
You know, just actually stepping into the character and describing and experiencing the scene through that set of eyes. You know, setting aside your own personality and embodying the role completely. Yeah. That's why that scene flowed so well, because they weren't reacting as Marcy and Ross anymore. They were reacting as River and Justice.
Like, I learned more about Justice playing that scene. Like, that was a real play to find out what happens, play your character like you're driving a stolen car moment. Like, I was just Injustice reacting, reacting, and I learned more about who Justice was through that scene.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's my appreciation of everyone, because I hate doing singular people because you're all phenomenal, and it's like, no, I won't do that. You have to tell people you love them. It's important.
I've been encouraging the audience to see what they brought in. Foxrider, of course, she had tons of stuff to say.
Oh yes.
But
Thanks, Foxy.
I know Foxrider loved that Fox scene. I saw four in chat. It was just like this.
Yes.
Yep. I think for me as an audience member, which is something I love about this game. Oh, there she is. She says, I absolutely loved how well you all guys work together. You have such an energy about you that works wonderfully together. And she said she always does have something to say. But I think as an audience member, I think the scene that really did encapsulate everything that happened tonight, even though it was his own individual scene outright and everything like that, the thing that encapsulated was the final scene with Ross and Marcy, with Justice and River, because this portion of the story, the narrative, seemed to be it seems like it's a transitional portion, because you've gone through some trouble and some tribulation getting to this point, and this point seemed almost like a rest spot. I thought the town was going to be, a place of rest, but it turned out to be more of a conflict than anything else, because you're dealing
with... Barleytown was chaos.
Yeah, Barleytown was rough, and then you got to this part, and you're in a hunting lodge in the middle of nowhere, and
with a bunch of mischievous rangers.
But it suddenly turned it almost to an oasis.
Yeah.
So it was really, really, really amazing. And Fox, don't worry if you missed it. It's going to be up on YouTube in about 2 days, so we will have that up there. Is Ross just away from keyboard right now?
We're not sure where Ross went.
Ross is just muted, I think.
It's muted, and he still shows he's on the call, so...
Oh, sorry. I was listening to all that. I just was muted.
No problem. All right,
Yeah.
so let's go ahead.
To go for the...
Huh?
Yeah, Mutiny needs to go.
Yep.
Yes. So I'm going to go ahead and do the drawing.
And my Skype just froze.
Ray, it's Mutiny needs to share the debrief still.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. All I'm going to do is do the drawing from this point on, Mutiny, so if you need to take off, we love you very much. And thank you so much.
No, Mutiny doesn't need to leave. It's Mutiny's turn to share for the debrief.
I want to know what Mutiny thought.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I thought you were telling me Mutiny was leaving. I was like, she hasn't gone yet, but if she needs to go, okay.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, my Skype froze, but I was just saying that. Yeah, I haven't gone yet. So I want to say two things. One of them is more important, and one of them is less important. I want to just appreciate Ross, and actually, it's really funny how Marcy said my confidence in this game. Y'all know how Fall of Magic gives me anxiety.
Yeah.
Nothing against you, Ross.
Thank you.
I'm a theater kid, but improv gives me the heebie-jeebies. So this game has always been a little bit scary to me, because it gives you so little to just tell your story how you want it. And having you here has actually been so helpful to me, in just different ways that you can play it, and learning that I'm not doing it wrong, and that it's just kind of about feeling out how the game is going along. It's helped me a lot, so I really appreciate having you here in this game. It's been really meaningful to me.
Oh,
so thank you for that.
Mutiny. That makes me so happy. Oh.
Yeah. Super appreciate that. The less important thing I wanted to say was the foxes that we just threw in there was fantastic. And anyone who knows me knows I love Cats the Musical. And it gave me very the Three Brothers fandom vibes of like the tribe, the Munkustrap and McCavity and Rum Tum Tugger, if anybody knows what I'm talking about. It just gave me very that vibes, and I love it.
So good.
Okay.
There was a moment where I wasn't sure if Ross was doing it on purpose. I think a part about Greyleaf moving into the shadows and them being hidden. There was a way that they phrased it that I was immediately like, the mystery cat. He's called the hidden paw.
That was just a happy accident.
But it worked.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. 90% of an RPG is just a happy accident most of the time.
Yeah.
Some of the greatest scenes come out of this random comments that suddenly take on a life of their own. And
yeah, because none of us went into that thinking we were siblings, and then it just, while the soup thing was happening, it hit me. It was like, this feels like siblings.
Yeah.
So I really like that.
Yeah, that was my favorite scene to play, and we were all in it. It was so fun. Having everybody there, we all had our roles, and it felt so good.
Yeah, super lovely.
This is a good game.
Yeah.
Talk to whoever made this game.
GG's.
All right, so let's see how this contest thing works out. Is everyone okay with drawing?
Yep.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are going to draw for our first of 2 winners tonight. You're going to get a code. Ross will send you a code that actually will unlock a copy of Fall of Magic, which will be playable on Roll20. You don't have to download anything, unless somehow magically you're not using a web browser right now. But you don't have to download anything. Roll20 can play on most browsers, and the game will load up with everything you need to play on the Roll20 application on the web. So it is completely web-based. You won't have to download anything. Here we go. Tony
Hey,
the
Tony.
Vamper, you are the first winner.
Woot! Woo!
And then
Hey, Tony.
one more. Oops.
What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen?
That's got weird.
We're so stressed out right now.
Alright, I had to put it back in again.
Also, to Fox Rider, yes, Aeom would have fit in there very
Wait,
well.
is Tony? Is this the Tony that I know, or is this a different Tony?
I think it's a Tony you know, because I read
Tony?
it earlier
Yeah,
in
because
the chat.
with the name.
Oh!
Lexi!
And
No,
Shaz, you are the other winner.
Who's Lexi Shrexy?
Shaz.
That's Shaz.
Oh, congratulations.
All right, so there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we are going to be continuing this, I do believe, and whenever we play, we have 3 more codes to give away. We didn't give one away the end of the first game. So we did 2 tonight to make up for that, and then we're going to do 1 at the end of each session. So if you guys want to continue watching, not only do you get this amazing story and these amazing storytellers, but you also have a chance to win the very game that we are going to be playing. So
The
very same game. So in the meantime, we are going to go ahead and let everyone go for the evening. I thank you all so much for everything you have done. I have a friend who is playing right now. She was actually in the show earlier, Game Raider Girl. She actually said hi and everything like that. She is actually going to be on the next dinner conversations when we're talking about consent in gaming. She's going to be one of our guests on that panel. So we're going to go ahead and raid her stream to give her some support and some love. If you can, stick around, watch her stream. She's an excellent content creator. But if you can't, just go in, say hi, say you came from dinner in a game, say you came and you're watching the lab experiments in gaming, and if you can, give them a follow. Twitch is very much a community effort. We try and support each other as best we can. So just by giving them a follow, it means the world to creators. So if you guys can do that for me, I would greatly appreciate it. If not, just go in and say hi, make some noise, let them know that we're here. All right? So everyone, thank you so much. I really love watching this. It was a massive pleasure. The experience was incredible. I hope the audience loved it just as much. And we will go ahead and let you all go. In 2 weeks, we will be back with another episode. In the meantime, we thank you all so much for your time, and we wish you a very good weekend.
Good night.
Bye. Thank you.
Now we're doing the whole stalling for a few seconds while the raid has to launch. It's always awkward because you hit the button and then it just doesn't just happen. It just.
So the weather's pretty nice today.
Yeah. All right, we're gone.